Cavecast, the uncensored show for nerds of all kinds.
There's no other way to say it. There's no other way that I can articulate it. There's no other truth that I think is the most truth in my life, which is I cannot live without music. Mm-hmm. Music is literally what I do every single day, whether I am driving, whether I am home with or without people here. When I want to feel good, I listen to it. When I want to feel something deeper or get some emotions out, I dive straight into it. It's my therapy. It's everything that helps me literally get through my life. And I genuinely don't understand how people on this planet that are experiencing the same life as us can just be like, I don't really listen to music. And because my first thought is, what do you do?
Right.
Like, what is your day full of? Like, I don't understand how anyone can go through this life without hearing a bass drum hit the way that it does. I can't understand how somebody can deal with family problems and deal with those things without hearing those impactful lyrics that give you those goosebumps and get you through things. Music is clearly very important to me, but I think that you have some good echoes into that, is that music is very important to you too. So,
of course, man.
What would you say is about music? Like, what is it that makes you keep coming back?
I mean, it's a lot of different things. It's not just like one specific thing. It's just one of those where like it gives me such like a rush a lot of times, or I like can listen to something like maybe like I feel like I'm going through like similar things. Like it kind of gives me like a different perspective on like life, and it calms me down. It amps me up. It, makes me mad. It does it. Like it has like all of the emotions. So it impacts me every single day, no matter what it is.
What would you say is either the earliest memory or an early memory that you have of music? Like as a kid, like something that just even then caught your attention and you were either dancing to, or you were performing, or you were just locked in listening to something. Like what was a song, or what was a group, or what was that thing that caught you?
I know that Mom talks a lot about when I would do like the Van Halen stuff and like, with my air guitar and like my ripped up jeans, but like as an actual real memory of like hearing music and liking it, or like what it was, one of the earliest memories is, it's not the first one, but I remember when I got Kiss from a Rose. Well, it was the soundtrack for Batman and Robin, or Batman Forever, I forget, and I went to the Best Buy where I now work as for the Samsung rep, but it's I bought that CD, and I remember the whole CD for one song.
Yes.
Didn't give a shit about any other song.
You couldn't just download that single. Yeah. You couldn't, no, there was nothing like
that was like, because I played that song so much, and I loved his voice. I loved, like the I guess band, if you will, behind him. It was just all of the sounds just like kind of just drew me in. And it was because I think a lot of it has to do with, Mom and Grandma and Grandpa Ralph, being in the barbershop and the quartets and like, all that stuff. So like, it's that sound. It's always that sound. So that was it for me.
Dude, Kiss from a Rose actually, that to me was kind of the first time that I saw film and music really start to make sense and how they can work together. Now I know that sounds dumb, but it was just an artist. It was somebody who was singing, who was famous, and they were like, hey, do you want this to be a part of the new Batman movie? You bet I do. And it's, as a kid, there was just this level of deepness where I was like, man, like I didn't know you could do that. Like there was like Smashing Pumpkins on that soundtrack. There was
right, I know they had a lot of good ones.
Maybe some artists I don't want to repeat now, but like it's, but it just, that was just a solid soundtrack. Yeah. And it accompanied that movie so well.
It did.
Dude,
it did.
Did you know that Kiss from a Rose is actually tuned in such a strange way that I think it's like tuned between E and F? Anytime that I've tried to like perform it or do something with it, you can't. Like you've got to like tune everything properly.
I was going to say it had a very, very unique sound. That's why I said it's not the first memory. It's just one that I kind of always really remember though.
Right.
As far as like, being so like involved with a sound in a song, between that and like Bone. Like it was. I know that's a very drastic difference, but it has like a similar feel to it. Their songs had all of that like harmonized, obviously sound, but like the beats and things behind them were like also what kept me involved. It was very interesting.
Yeah. I would have to say that my earliest memory, as far as like listening to stuff, is I've talked about it before, but it's one of the many. But obviously, like we've said it before, where I was listening to Def Leppard in the van when Mom would
Blare it.
just blare it. Like the two of you would get in the front of that van. And you would look at each other and kind of be like, "You ready? Ready. Let's do it. Pop in the CD. All right, press play. Pressing play." and then I'd be in my car seat, just like, "Oh, we're going to Grandma's. Do you want to get right? Let's get it." It was always like ear piercing, and I was like, "Oh God, stop it!" And what I realized is that later on, I was like, "Dude, I love this song. It's just a damn good song." Like Def Leppard was my very first understanding that music in a car was a thing. Like as a human being, learning that, where it's like, no, like we don't just drive, we enjoy our ride. And that was ingrained in me very, very early. Like even when I would ride in cars with you, or like with Dad Mike or like anybody else, like everybody always had their own taste and always had their own music because the driver chooses the music.
Right.
So it's just, man, that was kind of the benchmark, I think, for me when I was like, man, I'm like, this band is amazing. Like my mom loves it. My brother loves it. I will enjoy it then too. Like, it's so like, it's strange, but there was that. And then, dude, listening to Carmen, that the Christian artist, dude, Carmen was somebody that just took his faith and took music, even though now it's 90s cornball. Like if you watch it, like but so is like all the other like great movies that we grew up with or things like that. Like it's a relic of its time. But man, like just being able to jam out to Riot, like righteous invasion, we're gonna riot. Like it's,
I remember that.
It has so much attitude. Like I always remember, like I always had to curl my lip when I was listening to it. I thought I was cool shit when I was doing that. But like that kind of taught me that music could have a bit of an edge. And how interesting is it that Carmen was the thing that made me realize that as a kid? It's just odd.
It's very interesting that was who like showed you that was like some edge to it, but I get it. There was definitely certain sounds that I always remember, and Def Leppard, Michael Jackson, Metallica, like those were pretty much a staple as far as sounds, whether I was with Mom, Aunt Heidi, your dad, like whatever. It was like everybody, like you said, they all had different styles, but they all had like came together in the middle though, usually,
right?
As far as like what they all listened to. So it was very interesting.
I think that we honestly had the best way to grow up when it came to music. Like, it's within reason. So we're going to get into that. But no, dude, like we had Mom who, again, like she did barbershop quartet, as you said, with Grandma. And then we had Dad who loves Journey and loves like all those old bands and stuff. Like that was something that was very prevalent in our house. Like we could not escape it.
Right.
There's no way we could escape not listening to those bands or being exposed to them.
Right.
And even further is that Aunt Heidi, like all of her blues records, like I remember her listening to Creed and somebody being like, "Oh, Human Clay, that's awesome." She's like, "Yeah, I love Creed." And I'm pretty sure she still loves Creed to this day.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it's like we had so many people that just brought so many different tastes. And even when I started playing guitar, it was kind of that moment of Aunt Heidi being like, if you're going to play, you're listening to this, you're doing this, and stay away from this, do this first. Like, don't screw it up. And like, it was in the most loving way. Like, she gave me all of her Eric Clapton records. She gave me all of her Stevie Ray Vaughan records, all of her Kenny Wayne Shepherd records, no editing. But just, man, that was just so cool. And it was on physical. It wasn't just a link to something digital. It was something that
it was personal.
I could look at it. Like, I could open up the booklet and look at the lyrics and see everything. Like, albums were an experience. And like, I think that's one of the most important things about owning an album was that you earned it. You went to the store, you picked out your one case that didn't have a crack in it and like took it home, So, and then also opening them was infuriating. But
oh my God. But that was also the thing too, is did they have it? Like, was it going to be sold out and then you have to wait for the next shipment or whatever it was? Like, that's one of the things I do miss is going to like the Coconuts or the FYEs and you scan the backs of it and it would let you like hear like, like 30 or 45 seconds of the song. Yeah,
dude.
Don't have that no more.
I used to actually I did this thing, I think when I was at it may have been FYE, but we were with the family, and I was young enough that, I had to stay kind of close, but I was also kind of old enough that mom could be like in the other aisle.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a couple of times that I would look around the corner. I'm like, all right, she's deep in the 80s. I got a few minutes. I'd walk over, I'd grab like Eminem, and then I would go over and like scan it, run back, put it back, get to the headphones before the song, like, or that little sample finished, and I would just listen to it like, oh, yeah, aw. One more time. It's like it was always the same like 45-second like part.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird to think that music was guarded in that way. Like, there was no distribution of it, being able to be easily accessible in like a way that it's in your fingertips right at home in 5 minutes or 5 seconds. And just that experience was wild. But that dodging and that avoiding mom, that was a very big part.
That was an art.
That was, because I think that you were definitely one that probably honed that in much more than I did. Because I had, I think, 2 CDs in the entirety of the time that I was a kid and wasn't allowed to listen to certain things. So what was that like for you? Because we've talked about it.
I had to hide everything. Like, other than like a couple of things. Like, I remember she damn near freaked out on what album was it? I think it was an MC Hammer one, and the song was called like Soft and Wet. And she was like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "You bought it!" There was like a few that like I kept out for her to like see, that I like, so that she wasn't like, "Well, what are you listening to?" Because there's nothing. But I hid so many things because, number one, I had friends that either had them or would like, they would burn them for me. Well, not burn them because that wasn't a thing yet, but you could like take the CD and then record it to a tape.
Yes. Yeah. Is that also the thing that you couldn't make any noise while it was doing it because it would pick up noise from the room?
Some of them, yes, but no. But so I had friends like that, and then the library behind us, and then in town here, they had like a section of rap, and it was like pretty up to date shit. As far as like Tupac, Bone, Biggie, Nas, like. I want to say NWA was even in there. I was like, whoa, let me check these out. Mom was like, why do you keep going to the library?
You don't read.
Yeah. She was like, I think she got suspicious, but no, I would have to hide so much stuff. And then I would like, my day would be like me like going in the backyard or going to play basketball. And then I would hear it like on my way, like to and from, or just go there saying I was going to go do something just to listen to music.
Oh my God.
That is why I always had my Walkman or my Discman on me. Like, I always had headphones on. I still do. Like, they're usually always around my neck or right by me. And that's because every day, man, it's like, all right, mom's gone, or mom's in the shower, or mom's doing this. I'm going to blare these 2 songs.
Dude, it's so interesting. And I think that this is where I understand that, taste in music changes over time, just like your actual taste of food and like your likes of things that you've grown up with, where it's like, no, maybe I don't like this show anymore, or maybe I don't like. What's interesting is that mom, I think, has taken one of the greatest musical journeys that she can. Like, she's the one that will message us and be like, oh my God, Tom McDonald's new song was awesome. Like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
If Tom McDonald would have been a poster on my wall when I was like 12, she would have burnt that thing. Like, that was also during kind of like more of a stigma time, like when people were looking at, stuff like that, like, tattoos and, shaved sides of heads and like punk look and all that stuff. Like, there was already an association with that. But what I love about it is that it's now turned into that. I mean, I think it's definitely a big part of, her watching the reaction channel and people telling us to listen to things. But she has really grown as a musician lover. Like, as somebody that loves music, it's just it's interesting to me that she went through this big stage where it's like, rap is the worst. You can't listen to Slipknot or whatever. Now she adores Corey Taylor. Like, she's open to these hip hop, esque things, and clearly taste changes. So I know for you, hip hop is like that's your tagline on rykerroad, is that you are the hip hop head. Like, you know very much about that genre. What was it like growing up to be able to get to the point that you found that hip hop was your thing? Like, what were some genres maybe that you went through, or was hip hop like maybe there the whole time? Like what was that like for you?
I think I think like rap and hip hop was always there for me because I enjoyed the music that I was hearing, like, you know, with mom and everybody, like we already went through. But I don't know. There was always something in me thinking like there's something missing, and I didn't know what it was. And we've talked about it before, but that whole like, you know, a family member passing and my cousin getting gifted some of his albums and tapes and stuff.
Right.
And it was full of just rap, underground rap, hip hop, all this stuff. And that's where like Alan would be like, check this out. And that's when I figured out what a juggalo was. And that's when I figured out what underground rap meant compared to just like, you know, like the commercial stuff. You know, we had all of these artists. So you had all these like almost like different genres in a genre that I got to go through. And it was fucking amazing, man. It was this like rush. One, because I wasn't supposed to, and two, because it was that sound that I was missing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you if it was like the rapping part, if it was the beats, if it was both. Like, I don't know, but taste does change. Now I still like those other things.
Right.
But my go-to anymore is that rap, underground, and hip-hop style because I don't know why, but it's just one day it just changed my life. So,
well, it seems like you had a very focused way of music where it's like, you know, once you locked into it, I mean, maybe you could say that you locked into it super early or like whatever, but it's like you found it and it gripped you so much that you didn't want to abandon it. Like you didn't want to let anything take its place.
I was willing to get in trouble and grounded over it.
Right. And I think that there's this weird thing that happens when you are restricted from something for so long, you know, where it's like that kind of, you know, enticement of being like, oh, I'm not supposed to listen to it.
Right.
You know, what I think is interesting is that there's times when people have those situations in their lives, and when it's finally time that they can do whatever they want, it burns away like a cheap incense, and then it's no longer a thing because the excitement's no longer there.
Yeah.
What I can say is that I'm sure that you'll probably agree is that with the small amount that I hid music over time, that excitement never went away once I was allowed to do whatever I wanted.
Of course. Yeah, same.
It's just, there's never been a time in my life that I have ever had a form of entertainment completely derail me from anything else that was happening in my life. Like when Rise Against drops a new song, I will 100% be at a place to be able to listen to it. Like I will go outside, I will get away, I will make sure that there's no way that anybody can bother me. I will make sure that there's no, interference. Like I am taking in this song and I've got to listen to it. Like the joke is that I've stopped watching porn for Rise Against. Like,
right.
Music is that important to me. Like it is just like, I don't think that I've ever been excited to a level in my life with anything besides music. Like Avengers came close. Well, but dude, it was just, it's so special.
The thing with me, and I don't know if this like kind of goes back to the fact of what I had to do, like to listen to my music, and the fact that I just always had my headphones on. Mm-hmm. Even when people are home, or like when I go outside, or like, you know, whatever, it's like I put my headphones on. I could listen to it through my phone or a speaker. I don't want that. I want it in my ears and nobody else to hear it.
This is mine.
This is mine.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do. Part of it wasn't even the fact of hiding it from mom. It was the fact of even when they would be gone, I didn't blare it through a stereo.
No.
I did it in my headphones. You know, it was like, it was direct and to the source. So like, it's interesting that like having something like that affect you that much. And here we are. We do the reaction channel. You know, we're even talking about it on your show now. But like, it is literally all like every part of our day,
right?
Like, and we want it personally, like that.
Like,
yeah, it's for us.
Well, here's the thing: is that I didn't start my metalhead journey until I was maybe like 12, maybe like between like 12 and 15. Because
I was like 10.
Okay,
like I was like 10 or 11, probably roughly, when I heard like Tupac and Snoop and everybody for like the first time. Yeah.
My journey was very, very peculiar. And what I mean by that is that I went from listening to Carmen, listening to Backstreet Boys, mainly, a little bit of NSYNC. Then I heard Tim McGraw. And I was like, oh my God, I want to listen to country. And like, I was like, at that point, like it got deep enough that when I was a teen and stuff, it would be like, oh, I'm listening to like Rascal Flatts, or I'm listening to these different things. Like, it was very interesting that that's the stuff that gripped me, because when Sammy showed me Slipknot for the very first time, I didn't know that it was possible for a band to be that like theatrical, like with their masks and like with the things that they were doing. And then also the fact that it was this 9-piece band that was just so brutal, and the fact that it was so heavy. Like Slipknot was the heaviest thing that I had ever heard at that point. And I knew Mom did not want me to listen to it. So what's interesting is that it was kind of like this catalyst for me to justify a lot of things for her. When I would be playing Stone Sour, you know, and Bother would come on and she would listen to it like, oh, this song is just so beautiful. And like, this is this. And it's like, she's right. It's Stone Sour. Then I would put on Pulse of the Maggots by Slipknot. And she's like, turn that shit off. I'm like, it's the same guy. And she did not like that. Because that's to me, like, Corey Taylor was such a huge influence in my life. And for me to understand that you could genuinely 100% do whatever you want with music. Yeah. And, you know, I remember watching him at a place where it was a night with Corey Taylor, but he was like at a bar, or was at a little like coffee shop or something. I remember he was smoking a cigarette, so wherever he could smoke a cigarette inside. But some guy in the audience just raised his hand and said, Corey, thank you for everything. And Corey started to cry, you know, because like he was like, he understood what he meant.
Sure.
And he was like, no, dude, thank you. Like, you guys are the reason why I get to do this.
Well, right.
And this guy in the audience said it loud enough for the camera to hear it. He's like, dude, your voice changed my life. Like that, I like not to be super corny or anything, but like that is a genuine thing that I can say, is that Corey Taylor's voice 100% altered my life and the way that my brain works whenever I think about music, when I think about the ability of that duality. Because think about it, like Linkin Park was probably the only thing that I had been exposed to where there were two very specific different voices. Sure. Now you're telling me that there's a guy that can scream and sing, like he can growl like a demon and then sing like an angel. Like that's not possible.
Yeah, that always intrigued me too. When somebody can like either rap and sing, or scream and sing, and then like it's like, whoa, I thought you had to do one or the other. Right. And you know, over time, you know, artists have proven that to be, you know, not true. So it's very cool when you find that, and then like you said, like you're almost like so like enthralled with it. You're like, well, what's that? What else can he do? Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I in a way, I really feel honored that I got to have the path that I've had with music, just because it's not clean. It's not, you know, organized in a lot of ways. Like I've been influenced by a lot of different things to be able to get to the point to where I'm at, but man, just metal was just where I landed. That's where I knew for a fact that I wanted to stay. And it was that moment of like, nah, dude, I'm going to make my hammock here. You know, I can move my hammock whenever I want to, but I like these woods. You know, like that's kind of where I'm at with it, is that it's a genre that I think that does things that others can't, just like how hip hop can only do things that it can do. Like it's a place that I love being, and it's a place that I can't wait to see what happens as time like progresses with it. Like there's so much that can change and that can be experimented on. I mean, my God, like Ronnie's doing incredible stuff with Falling in Reverse. Like there's plenty of bands we've gotten to see and listen to that have done some really awesome stuff.
There is.
But there's also sometimes some people, like, just because you can make music doesn't mean you should. So like,
correct.
And I hate to sound like that, but it's the truth. Like, look, man, I can't swim very well. I can swim to survive, like, but I can't swim the best. I'm not going in the ocean, you know? So like, it's like, I'm not going to stay in the water all the time, you know?
I think the problem is that it's so accessible now to make music, get your music out there, and, you know, have a platform, which is great. I'm not saying that people shouldn't pursue their passion or dream or whatever it is, but like you said, now everybody just thinks they can rap. Like same maybe with like metal and rock, but I feel like rap and hip hop is where like everybody thinks they can do it now. Yeah. You can't. Right. Like there is a legit skill set of people that can do those things, and you're not one of them. Right. Now, I'm like, again, I'm not trying to like squash somebody's dream here, but at the same time, like you have to respect the actual real art that's being made, regardless of what genre it is. If you're a shitty country singer, stop being a country singer. It's not just, so that's how I feel about it because, dude, the music today, I just fucking can't. I try. It's not even just rap. But rap is the biggest one, and that's my genre.
Right.
And it fucking blows. And I don't know what happened because there was all of these great lyricists and people that did this art form for decades before them. You mean to tell me you couldn't figure out one way that they did it and help with your rhymes or whatever? Not one?
Right. What was the
You didn't study enough.
Well, think about this is that God, I'm trying to remember what song that they compared it to, but it was showing pop lyrics in a song that was written today, and it was the most successful thing, or that was written by 4 producers, and they all compiled everything together, and it's they made this 3.5 minute song with these lyrics that are very repetitive. Freddie Mercury was one man and wrote Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right. It's
what is your excuse?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Queen is another one. That's such a huge part of our upbringing and listening to stuff, and it's just.
I didn't even think we needed to bring it up. It was you knew.
It's what I have learned is that it's look, man, if you don't like Queen, I don't trust you. Dude.
Check this out real quick. Sorry to veer off, but we talked about it. But
Please,
we had this not debate, but this discussion one time at work, and this one guy, he was like, "Who is the one band? Who is the one singer, one band that when they come on the radio, you don't turn?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. He's like, think about it. When it's AC/DC, okay, Metallica, you might leave it on, but he was like, Queen. He's like, no matter what Queen song is, or what Queen song is on,
right.
Jesus, I'm not even drinking apple juice. Right. You will stop.
Yeah.
No matter if it's right at the end, you will listen to it. You won't go to the next station. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I never, I've always done that myself, even when I did listen to the radio.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, I never thought about it that way.
Well, especially too, is that I think Queen has written some of the best songs.
Oh, facts.
Excuse me. Just in general, just in music. Come on, everybody knows "We Will Rock You" in some way, shape, or form. Whether or not they have been at a football game.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're out there in your sweater. It's cold. Yeah. You got your hot cider.
Yeah.
And you are willing to put it down on that cold, not sturdy seat where it's going to bounce around because everybody's going to be stomping. Boom, boom.
Yep.
There's something really iconic about that. And again, I think that this is why music is it's so damn important. It is from a fundamental level of how we perceive things, especially in movies. If there is no music in a movie, you don't know what to feel. You don't know what the true vision of what's happening. And I genuinely think that there's something that music can do that other forms of entertainment can't do. And there's something pure about it. There's something about it that when somebody is able to perform and able to do something that they've practiced or that is just deep from within them, it's moving. It's there's something that can genuinely just make a difference in that. I know it sounds so dumb, but it's you think about the whole "We Are the World," where all the big singers got together and they did. There was the old version and then the new version where it was both went to benefits and stuff, and there was a callback to Michael Jackson where Janet got to sing and use his backup vocals from the original. Stuff like that is just so cool. Where it's nah, dude, you paid attention and you knew exactly what was going on here, and the different things that are displayed in music and how people get their message across when it's not an agenda, when it's a genuine thing that you're dealing with.
I get it.
But because I think it's another form of entertainment that a lot of people can be the bad person to be on a mic, but when people are good at it and they know what they're doing and they love what they're doing, dude, I can't not have that in my life.
Sure,
it's just it's so important, man.
It's the fact, like you said, it's important. Music is so important to us and many people like us that, sometimes even bad agenda people still suck me in. But at the same time, I know how to like put that aside and just get the music that I want to hear or whatever. But at the same time, like it is just very important to us. And I think that's why we can even look past things like that sometimes. And because it's not that we're sweeping it under the rug or anything, but it's just like, no, man, it's still just for me, you know, or whatever it is. So that's what I'll leave it at that with that section. But yeah. So
I mean, trust me, like I've got the same, you know, mentality on things is that, trust me, there's a lot of musicians that maybe if I were public on who I listen to, where it's like, oh my God, like you listen to this person, like, yeah, man. Because unfortunately they do make good music. I don't support them.
Yeah.
I don't like it's, you know, it's, I try to do it in a way that is, I mean, because it's not even that often that it even pops up, but like, I don't know. I find more and more that I'm driven by art. I'm driven by somebody's vision. I'm driven by, attracted. I'm attracted to somebody's vision and what they were doing. And looking at people that are, you know, either making mistakes or doing things where it's, you know, there's been plenty of musicians that have made dumb, you know, decisions throughout their life, or have, you know, done stuff with drugs, or like, you know, have been convicted of things, or, you know, like things like that. But it's, what's interesting is that when they're back on the mic, there's usually something that is changing or something that's happening. Even if they're in the midst of it, it's like, dude, like while they were in the midst of this entire addiction, this opiate addiction, they wrote 3 of the best albums of their life. Like,
look at Eminem.
Right. It's, dude, like, which Eminem? I mean, come on. That's
right. I mean, again, that's a whole, I wasn't trying to touch too much on stuff, but yeah.
It's Eminem was the main one that made me understand that, wow, a white boy can rap. Sweet. You know, so cool.
Right. Because we had Vanilla Ice prior to that. So basically, I mean, there was like Beastie Boys and stuff, but you know what I mean. Like,
dude. I always forget about the Beastie Boys. Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah, I always forget about them.
Not a big fan of them.
Oh, really?
No, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but not a big fan of them.
I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I just remember the music video for the one song where they're on that propelled boat and they're like fishing and like fighting and stuff, and it's like they're like on a street like doing like weird stuff. Like,
so you don't even know?
No, have no idea.
Yeah,
so,
like I have no idea, but yeah.
Eminem was, I think he was the guy that took the edge further for me. I mean, clearly, you know, with listening to Kim for the first time and listening to all this stuff, like there was a time that I think you and I have said this before, but we both listened to that song a lot when we grew up. Like,
yo, that was between that and Superman were like my top 2 favorites for a long time. They still kind of are.
Oh, really?
I love Kim. I love that song. It's just
if there's anything that is raw emotion, it is that song.
And dude. I think that's the biggest part is that I found out even back then that like he did it in basically one take. You know, he'd had a bad day. He told Dre just to like, you know, hit record, and that's where it went. But like, dude, I remember it used to make my buddy's brother like gag when he would hear it at the end when she's got her throat cut.
Oh yeah.
He's like, God, dude, like turn it down. Yeah, it's. I'm like, no, crank it. Like,
what's interesting was I can't remember who it was, but there was a friend of mine that was like, he meant this song to be a love song, and I'm like, no, he did not. No, he did.
No.
Did we listen to the same song?
Yeah.
I mean, did we hear the same thing? So I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he killed her. So you know,
so, it's like nobody can have you but me. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like Superbike from Fairly Odd Parents. You know, it's like nobody can. So, but no, like Eminem was an artist that, you know, I knew did a lot of things for shock value or would do stuff to try to get attention on certain things. But when he broke it down and got real, that was another layer to music that I understood, where I was like, wow, this person that is known for this thing made this.
Right.
Didn't think that was possible.
And that's the thing is that, you know, he had stated, you know, several times prior, but like this is his job. His job is to make you shock and awe, like give you shock and awe, like make you go, oh my God, you know, cancel this guy before cancel was like, you know, even a thing. But it's like he knew that. But then he also was like, he did that for like a hot minute. And then like you said, he's like, but look, guys, I'm actually really good at this over here too. And that's what was cool. And I think that's where it like gave more of an attraction for me to him as far as wanting to hear his music. I did not, biggest fucking cornball I ever saw in my life when he first came out with My Name Is. It was going all over the school, all over. I remember my dude Patrick Epley was like, yo, you hear that song, a new dude Eminem with I was like, yeah, fucking cornball. Like, dude.
If that Eric could talk to the Eric now, like, dude, like,
I didn't like that song. It was annoying as fuck. And actually, Dre said that's how I knew it was going to be a hit. But anyways, it wasn't the rap that I liked.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, why the fuck is this dude on the radio? You know, like, who is he? Yeah. And then here we are. But yeah.
Right.
So I was wrong.
Yeah, right. I mean, again, sometimes eating crow on stuff is... It's a good outcome where it's like, wow, like I didn't know what this was 5 minutes before.
Right.
You know, there's tons of things that we could do and tons of things that we could talk about. I think that we are going to cover a lot of music on this channel because, I mean, clearly, hello, rykerroad. I mean, come on. But yeah, music is something that will never not be a part of our lives.
Right.
And it's something that we have found a mutual, like with many different people across the entire world. And it's something that I, frankly, as I've said before, is that I'm honored. I'm honored to be a part of that. Like, knowing that there's only the certain percentage of people that get goosebumps from music or like,
I'm one of them.
Yeah, same. Like it happened to me 4 times today. Like it's just setting all this up, listening to music. Like, no, I had my moments. Like it's so awesome to be able to connect with people that love it. And I'm assuming that if you're watching this, that means that you've enjoyed music as well too. Or if you just love to hear us, yap away, thank you for being here. But we're going to cover a lot more stuff. The NF Journey review is definitely going to be coming. We're going to be doing many different fun things as we progress. But this has been our just like how our music, taste has changed and like, what stayed the same and everything like that. I'll find a good title for it or whatever when we make it. But nevertheless, this has been awesome. So as always, Eric, do you have anything that you would like to leave us on or anything you want to tell the people? This is your time.
Yeah.
This camera, or this camera.
I can't want to look over here. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, guys, this is just a lot of fun to do. We like to sit around and talk and BS about, music or even just in general. But so we just appreciate you hanging out. Cheers.
Awesome, guys. We'll see you next time.